Okay, we're slightly slow because of a technical glitch. We're working on it, though.
Yeah, we're ready to go. Nathan, do you have names or? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I think we can go back to public speakers.
All right, thank you. We have three public speakers today. The first speaker is Jason Anthony, followed by Christopher Greif.
Good afternoon, David. Jason Anthony, the Transit Guru, has reborn for 2025. I would love to say the following as Congresswoman Lydia Velasquez reminded us on Friday. Let's be wise, ordering our spending money, let's say federally wise, as we enter in uncharted territories, we should be, let's say, resilient, New York tough, because what the incoming federal administration is going to do is that they're going to delegate federal funding to the states. This is not only a New York State issue. This applies to all 50 states plus territories. So as a native New Yorker, a Bronxer, a Brooklynite, we should all remain resilient. And as a MTA family member, I should remind everybody that no matter the circumstances, we should audit our spending very wisely because we don't want the feds in Washington, D.C. to cut us out of the act. And they don't cut our wings and they don't give us what we want. So let's do the good things and let's remain New York tough.
Thank you for your comments. The next speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Maddie Bucky's Highland.
Good afternoon. I'm Christopher D. Greif. As the audit, I have to say, reading your book is very good, but I will remind our elected officials who are listening or watching, read the book. Because what I see in the book, and I have asked everyone to look at the book, we have seen audits not just in all categories, but accessibility too. And I'm going to say the future accessibility rides with us. And we've seen people going to work who are people with all types of disabilities, seniors, and yes, veterans. But we need to let that clear that this audit committee, which I really am fascinated because learning more, and I do some audits myself on a different hat I wear, but I will not say. But I see that things are changing. We have to move forward. And I hope in the future, much more, that a lot of people realize outside that the odds are here. Read the book, study the data, and it does help everyone to know that this is not what it looked like in the past. This is the new MTA future. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Maddie Bucky's Highland.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Matty Bucky's Highland, and today I'm going to speak about audit. With congested pricing now in effect, it will be interesting to see how the audit will impact the pricing program. So it is nice to see, every state, has as something called a comprehensive annual financial report, and in that report, it details what audits have been done. So it'll be interesting to see when the Metropolitan Transportation Authority issues its comprehensive annual financial report. It'll be interesting to see what we find. So audits are very important. So with that being said, please get home safe. Have a great day and have a great evening. Tomorrow's my 24th birthday, everybody. So God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the public comments.
Sorry, my voice is. Now we're going to turn to the approval of minutes. This is the fact we don't have a quorum means that we'll have to essentially let's forward the minutes to the board for approval. Okay, Monica, can you take us through the work plan?
Yes, Chair. There'll be 4 meetings this year, and the specific agenda items for each meeting can be found on pages 10 through 16 of your committee book. The proposed work plan was included in the committee materials in October. We tweaked the plan by moving the IT presentation to July. So that's our
Okay.
work plan.
Any questions? Again, because of the lack of a quorum, the 2025 Audit Committee work plan will be forwarded to the board for a vote on Wednesday. Okay, next up is Deloitte to present the results of their review of the third quarter 2024 MTA consolidated interim financial statements. The financial statements will be issued in final form after the Audit Committee review and approval. Costas, Managing Director, Makrakis, will give the presentation on that.
Thank you.
I'll get it right by next
No, I
meeting.
think you did great.
Yes, Costas.
So thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to everyone. As the Deloitte MTA Lead Client Service Managing Director, I will provide the Audit Committee with my remarks for the review of the MTA's interim consolidated financial statements as of and for the 9-month period ended September 30, 2024. We completed the review of the financial statements and provided our comments to management, which were addressed. We will be able to issue a review report within the next couple of days. I will share with the committee the final interim financial statements with a signed Deloitte review report, the relevant audit committee communication report, and the management representation letter. A review of interim financial information consists primarily of analytical procedures and making inquiries of those responsible for financial and accounting matters. A review is substantially less in scope than an audit. The objective of an audit is to express an opinion on the financial statements. Accordingly, we do not express an opinion on the interim financial information. Based on the review procedures performed at this time, we are not aware of any material modifications that should be made in the interim financial statements in order for them to be in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the U.S. And that concludes my remarks for the review of the quarterly financial information.
Thank you, Costas. Are there any questions? Board members? As required by the New York State Budget Office, this report will be brought to the full board on Wednesday for a vote with a recommendation to approve from the Audit Committee members. Okay. Next, we have Lamont Kearse, MTA Chief Compliance Officer, who will brief the committee on selected aspects of the Enterprise Risk Management Program and agency compliance with the MTA's internal control guidelines. Lamont?
All right, thank you very much. So you have a very quick presentation here, so let me go through it. Perfect. Let's get to the relevant portion. So last year, we conducted 1,387 risk assessments, which is a process by which we go out to management and ask them to identify their business processes, their objectives, the risks they have to achieving those objectives, and the internal controls they have in place to mitigate those risks. Of the 1,387, we identified 103 with significant changes. It's okay. In addition, we conducted what we call internal control self-assessments. That's the process by which our internal control procedures are tested to ensure that they are operating efficiently and effectively. Again, we did 1,358. Of that, 57 of those that we conducted failed. Of those 57, most of those were documentation only or minor deficiency. There was one significant deficiency related to health and safety around the issues of our hearing retention prevention program, issues around documentation, not any issues with any particular employee. But because it involves health and safety of our employees, that is obviously going to be rated very high and a very significant deficiency, which management is working on resolving. And I think that is really the significance of everything I have to say. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take any questions on our enterprise risk management program.
Okay. Any questions, concerns? I guess we have we've done both compliance with internal controls and enterprise risk management. So I guess we'll go on to the issue of open audit recommendations. One last item, Lamone has a brief report on the status of audit recommendations previously accepted by the agencies.
Okay.
Lamone?
Great. So there is a deck for this. And I think the most important thing I can say about the deck, I'm going to go through it, but the numbers you see in here, all of them have gone down since I prepared the deck. So that's a good thing. So last quarter, there were 121 new remediation plans created. Of those, also during that same quarter, 117 were closed. Currently, there are 25 remediation plans that have been implemented but are awaiting closure. In other words, the departments, the agencies, they've implemented them, but there's a process by which closure has to be verified. And there are 27 remediation plans that are a high priority that are still open and 6 months past due. However, of those 27, 10 of those 27 are in that category of having been implemented and waiting closure. So actually, there are only 17, that are pending. Again, the good news is between the time I prepared this report and today, all the numbers have come down significantly. So that is my report. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions, Lamone?
I love when the numbers come down.
I'm sorry, Lamont, did you have the compliance with the Internal Controls Act, or
Yes.
is that part of our?
So the Internal Control Act,
Oh, sorry. That's my.
well, I can, very simply, the Internal
Yeah,
Control
go
Act
ahead.
has certain requirements, right, that we issue guidelines, which I've talked about.
Right.
That we maintain a system of internal controls and which I've talked about. That we have policies that are clear and concise for our employees.
Okay,
That this board appoints someone to oversee internal controls, which is me as of today.
Yep.
And that we do education and training, which I know you've all done your training, because
Yep.
I've sat in the room with all of you. So we're fully compliant with the Internal Control Act as it relates to those items.
Sorry, I missed that. Next, Monica Murray, Auditor General, will discuss MTA audit services, activities, and accomplishments in 2024, and present the proposed audit plan for 2025. Monica?
Good afternoon. I'd like to update the committee on the year-end status of the 2024 audit plan and present a summary of the proposed 2025 plan. Our mission in audit services is to provide insightful, proactive, and future-focused audits, examining risks and controls, and identifying organizational improvements. I would like to thank Darren Juergens, Phyllis Richardson, and Judy Beckford, as well as the entire audit staff for the 2024 results. During the year, we completed 79 operational assurance audits. These audits identified 167 findings for which the audit team made recommendations to improve internal controls and compliance with established processes and reduce risk. We identified potential operational cost savings and efficiency opportunities of $33.5 million. These include opportunities to reduce costs, avoid unnecessary expenditures, or otherwise enhance revenue collections. These audit recommendations are tracked in compliance's GRC system to ensure they're implemented. We also performed 429 audit reviews related to capital projects. This work included reviews of cost proposals, interim reviews, closeout audits, and audits of claims to ensure contract billings were appropriate. Third-party question costs identified in these projects were $11.1 million. A summary of each of these operational audits has been provided to the Audit Committee as part of our year-end summary. Some of the significant audits this year included transit receivables, revenue equipment maintenance, and operating contracts. Our capital contract auditors worked with project management to review additional work orders, claims, and perform final audit of, I think I went ahead, sorry, thank you, David. Final audit of projects. Sandy, here we go. In 2013, with approval from the Audit Committee, we established the Sandy Oversight Committee in cooperation with the MTIG to perform independent integrity monitoring services for those projects which received FTA emergency funding. To honor our commitment to the FTA, our Sandy Audit Unit continued to perform assurance audits, and we report the results to the FTA quarterly. Since this unit was established, we have completed 159 projects, made 414 recommendations, with cost adjustments of approximately $67 million. As required by the grant funding agreement, we'll continue to perform audits of ongoing Sandy projects. We have committed to follow up on all recommendations until they're fully implemented. The Pension Quality Assurance Function was established in 2013 at the request of Headquarters Management. This group reviews the pension calculations of defined benefit plan for Metro North, MTA Police, MTA Bus, and Long Island Road open and closed plans. They provide pension management with the results of the reviews daily so that corrections can be made prior to payments being processed. The onboard team performed over 8,300 tests this year to ensure the conductors are collecting the correct fare and they are following standard operating procedures. The results of these tests were reported to agency management, who utilized the information in their estimates for the rate of fare not collected and improper fare collection. Information from these observations also allows management the opportunity to adjust resources where needed. Now I'll provide a summary of the proposed 2025 audit plan, which has been discussed with each of the agency presidents and leadership at headquarters. The foundation of the audit plan was developed through a formal risk assessment that is performed in accordance with the Institute of Internal Auditors standards. We began our planning process in September, and it usually takes us several months to complete, resulting in a comprehensive risk assessment, which is fully documented. Consistent with prior years, the risk assessment sources include financial data and assessment of the nature of operations, control activities, and previous audit results. We conducted 97 management interviews and identified 153 potential audits. We prioritized the audit suggestions and developed a proposed audit plan with 94 operational assurance audits for 2025. I met with the agency presidents and tower leads to discuss and finalize the proposed plan to ensure the areas of greatest risk have the appropriate audit coverage. This is a snapshot of some of the 94 audits for 2025. In finance, we'll closely monitor actions taken by management related to cost-saving initiatives, timekeeping systems, as well as oversight and assignment of overtime. For safety, we plan to perform audits of the incident and accident reporting, FOIL requests, safety practices, and the fare evasion gate guard program. In human resources, we will focus on hiring, employee availability, and health benefits. We will also perform revenue audits at each agency. In addition to our third-party review of capital contracts, we will continue with our required Sandy program and New York City Engineering Audit Office reviews. This just gives you a sort of a visual representation of where we sort of, and you'll see headquarters, you know, because post-transformation, so it's a little more heavy there now. In 2025, we'll focus our efforts to support the initiatives of the MTA to improve efficiency and effectiveness of operations. We'll continue to support the agency-wide operational goals with respect to cost savings and evaluate contractor performance. And just looking ahead, we're just going to continue to work with our external partner, our external audit entities. The Office of Construction Oversight reports to me, and we have the capital program, so we can assure oversight of, you know, capital program without duplication of effort. We'll also work with internal control staff to ensure recommendations are appropriately monitored. And that concludes. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Are there any questions by members of the board? We will move this to a board vote on Wednesday, again, because of the lack of a quorum. Yes?
Yeah, just one question.
Jared.
You mentioned the Sandy audits. I know that was established like 12 years ago. How many projects are still ongoing?
Darren, do you know how many, Darren's our expert in this area.
C&D has well, at least a half dozen or more.
Okay, I think then we can seek an adjournment. I don't think there's a vote we need.
No, we'll just move this to the full.
What?
We'll move this to the board.
Yeah,
as-
we'll move to, everything gets moved to the board on Wednesday. Thank you very much for coming. Bye.
Thanks.